Okay. The information we will be sharing on this conference call or in my emails is not intended or implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. All content, including text, graphics, images, and information contained on or available through my emails is for general information purposes only. You're encouraged to confirm any information obtained from or through this conference call or my email with other sources and review all information regarding any medical condition or treatment with your physician. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay seeking medical treatment because of something you have heard, read, or accessed from this conference call or my emails. And that's signed Fred Neal. Thank you.
Okay. Hey, Fred, I got my water today, and this is Donald, I mentioned earlier, and I see there's some instructions and testimonials, and I didn't read all that, so maybe this, what I'm going to ask, maybe that's discussed in there, I don't know. But I was just kind of curious because I talked to you earlier, and you had said that, like so many things, it's best like maybe kept in a closet or something where it's dark. And I just wonder, how does that work with, like the water you put in your pond? That's sunshine is on that all the time.
Well, excuse me. Go ahead.
No, that's all. Go ahead.
The main thing in the bottles, it seemed like all your manufacturers, your bottlers, are predominantly using plastic, and of course a lot of people don't like bottled water in plastics, and there are reasons for that, and so that's why I say if you're going to leave it in the plastic container, and I wouldn't leave it set out in the open sunlight, strictly because if heat does rise in the bottle, or you could get something possibly out of the plastic. However, I was in the plastics business for about 10 years, and most of that stuff is molded at, say, between 450 and 500 degrees, and so at ambient temperature, I don't think there's a lot of concern, but people do have concerns and valid concerns. So just be precautious. Take precautions whenever you're storing it. You can store it in a shelf or something rather than in the direct sunlight. But concerning the ponds, then it doesn't matter because it's out there in the atmosphere. So we're talking basically two different things for the reason I just explained.
Oh, okay, because I guess I always thought that one of the things keep it out of the sunlight was because that sunlight reduced potency of a lot of things.
Well, and it probably does. You know something else too. You said a bottle of liquid. I suppose any kind out. If it can get sunlight shining through it just right, you could have a kind of a bullseye effect and start a fire out in the woods or something. I suppose just with spontaneous combustion with the sun shining through it, and if it gets focused into a little spot, well, it'll get hot on the ground or whatever is what I'm referring to.
Well, if it exploded, we'd say, boy, that stuff Fred's got pretty powerful stuff.
Well, it is, and if we use it just right, well, it'll treat us right, I think.
Yeah. Anybody wants to ask a question or make a comment, just press *7.
Well, let me say this while they're pressing *7. I appreciate everyone coming on, and we'll try to be astute, and answer in a way that you can understand it. I'm a country boy, and also a Texas Aggie for you other people that understand Texas Aggies. So give me a little bit of credit too, you know what I mean. That's a pun.
Sure, we'll give you.
Did I hear somebody come on?
I think so.
Hey, Fred, this is Paul.
Hi, Paul.
Hey, when I mix the tablespoon of your water with like a gallon of water, what I did is I bought some plastic containers and just mixed it that way. Do I need to shake it up? Does it ever settle?
No, it's not going to settle, and by the time you get it in there, and it's not going to hurt if you want to shake it, but believe me, it hits the rest of that bottle pretty fast. So either way, you can shake it if you want to. Don't worry about it if you don't.
Okay.
Fred, this is Chuck. I have a question.
Okay.
I was wondering, I've been on your oxygen water for about 2 weeks now, and one thing that I found is that, I make frequent trips to the bathroom. My kidneys are working overtime. Could you tell me if that is pretty common?
That is real common whenever you have lots of poisons, and that's one of the ways that the body has of disposing of the poison is through the urine, the bowel, and the pores of the skin and whatever, and I've just learned that from reading from people that know more than I do. So, but that's quite common. But on the other hand, we find some people that have to go to the bathroom maybe 3 or 4 times a night will get on it and be able to sleep all the way through, even from the first night. So you got those two extremes, but your frequency of trips should be dropping off. But that indicates to me that you probably got a lot of poisons that just needs to be cleaned out of the system.
I believe that. But anyway, when it becomes less frequent, why, that will be an indication to me that a lot of my toxins and poisons are already gone.
I would read it that way. You know, I think that's a good evaluation. Yes.
Now, of course, a lot of us know Ardith. She's the one that really introduced several of the people on this call to the product. And Ardith, she can't get in the tub to take a tub bath. So what she uses is something that she was in the habit of doing for years, and that's she used a foot bath. And I was wondering if that foot bath, you could do the same thing as you do with the tub, just set the purple cap in there for a few minutes, and she wouldn't have to be pouring any of the red and green in that water then.
That is excellent. Yes, that foot bath can do the same as the tub bath, and all she has to do is just put that bottle of water down in there and leave it. It's amazing. People say, "How do you do that? How do you do that?" It works, you know, but how do you do it? Well, you know, that's a very interesting thing. But you put that down in there, it'll charge that foot bath and leave your feet in it as long as you like. And if you want to, it gets a little cold, like probably Ardith is doing up in Alaska. Well, you can always add a little bit of hot water to it from time to time, and just sit there and enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing that I'm doing, unless you would say otherwise, I put the purple cap in my tub bath, and I don't leave it in there 5 or 10 minutes. It takes a bath with me. I leave it in there until I'm finished.
Oh yeah,
that's a good idea.
Oh, excellent. Yes. And if you had a spa, leave it in there overnight if you want to. I mean, it'll just keep right on working, and once you get, if you have a spa like there's some folks that we are familiar with that do, they will charge it up with, they've got a couple of bottles they'll put in there and let it float around for a while, and they only change that water out about once a week in the little spa that they have, and that has been very, very effective, and I've been able to monitor their poisons as they do that, and that's one of the more effective means of getting rid of the poisons that I've seen so far. So anything like that you can soak the body in, and the spa itself has those jets in it that seem to massage the body, and you get a lot of poisons out of the pores of the skin, and of course your skin is your largest organ in the body, so if you can get as much of that in under the water and stir it, well, that is an excellent way to go. And those little spas are sold at various stores. They're in the, I've seen them in the $500 to $700 range as compared to Remo Jacuzzi's pools, which run several $1,000s. And I happen to know Remo, but they're not anything as expensive as his. But his is more of a permanent thing. These are temporary, portable, where if you want to take them on vacation, you can. But that is an excellent idea if you want to look at that sometime, and that does help keep down on the poisons.
Well, I'm going to put that on my list, I'll tell you. But I just want to thank you, Fred, for bringing this product to us, and I'm really enjoying it.
Well, thank you very much, Chuck. I appreciate you being on the program. And being on the water. Goodness, this is good, and you people have really been a blessing. You've worked my rear off here trying to keep up with everything, but I'm going to rise to the occasion, and if you email me or something, I'll get around to answering you. But give me just a little bit of time. But I really appreciate every one of you, and I'm glad that I'm allowed to be a part of this thing and bring this technology to us. Well, of course, I brought it to me to get me out of impossible situation, and now then we're able to share it with other people, and that's the name of the game. Thank you.
Fred, I have a question. This is Kurt, and I was wondering, since drinking this water, a lot of people have a lot of anaerobic bacteria in their digestive tract. I just wondering if this will kill the anaerobic, organisms and allow the aerobic, good bacteria to multiply, and will it help regulate your bowels too?
Well, I'm not a nutritionist, and there's one of the bacterias, and I get them confused, like the left is starboard and the right is, or left is port and right is starboard. I get them confused, but it will get rid of the bad stuff, and so far we've not had anybody that's had any complaints about cleaning the system and all. If you ever suspect that's the case, well, in times past I've used what is it called with acidophilus to help restore the gut
probiotics flora. Bacteria or probiotics.
Well, there's another acidophilus with bifidus.
Bifidus.
And what that does, and I learned this from a doctor friend of mine, that will restore the gut flora if you've done something to destroy it, and different kinds of medicines and poisons and all will tend to do that. But you can go to the health food store and get those type products to restore that, get your system working again. Okay.
Fred, Bob Bennett here.
Who?
Bob Bennett.
Okay.
I think that guy Donald got my product today.
You think he did?
Yeah.
Well, why did he do that? You got to watch him.
I know it. Mine didn't come today, and he said he got his.
Well, he sounds like he's got an inside track somewhere, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
If you don't get yours soon, you let me know, okay? Because I'm shipped up to date. I still got some emails I got to go through from last Friday, but everybody that has called in so far that I've got in my book, we've got them shipped up to date. I've got some more that's going tomorrow. So give it.
How do you want us to pay? I need to get an order in, and you just want us to send you a check, or?
Yeah, check or postal money order works great. Yeah, and that works great. I wasn't expecting all of this to take place, and I wasn't prepared for everything. Have PayPal and all that sort of stuff, and so I'm little bit slow, but I'm coming along, okay?
Okay, Bob Bennett again.
Okay.
Go ahead, Bob.
I have a daughter. I don't know if you've had any reports back from anyone or not, but I have a daughter that's on drugs. She's an alcoholic, and she's had stomach problems ever since she was 3 years old that I'm aware of. She hasn't had any drugs or alcohol for 3 weeks, and she can't sleep. I'm wondering if maybe some water might help her in all those situations.
Well, Bob, I would have to say so because my core belief is, and this is my bias, that oxygen is a healing fluid for all situations. And of course, when you're on drugs, well, those are just poisons if you cut through the chase, you know. And this oxygen water will remove the poison, and I would suggest that she drink one of those purple bottles, and then follow up with the red green, and then simultaneously soak in the tub if she can, and that is just about the best that I know to get rid of those, except going through another procedure that I have, but this right here ought to take care of that.
Alcohol for a few weeks. I'm very proud of her, so I need to get water down there to her. Okay, I was just wondering if you'd had any reports. I appreciate
You were cutting out, and
Somebody's got their speaker on or something on their phone and not muted.
Yeah.
I was not catching everything, Donald, and I'm not sure if I got everything he was asking.
Yeah, I think you covered it pretty much, Bob Bennett. If you anything else.
Yeah, I think everything's okay.
Okay.
And this is Reverend Tompkins from Greensboro, North Carolina.
Okay.
How is this effective? Is your water on actual joints and things like torn cartilages and or where the cartilage has deteriorated and people almost having bone against bone, but they have enough cartilage left where they can hope if this stuff can cause it to regenerate itself, it would be good. Does it do that?
Well, we've had some experiences in that area. Early on, we had a disc replaced in an individual in New Jersey, and he was on the water. He goes back to his doctor in a week or I can't remember, a week or 2 weeks. It was a relatively short time. And that disc had settled in and healed real good, and he didn't have to do anything to it. They were thinking that they would have to continue on whatever strategy the doctor was using on him, but it was healed. Now then, this water has tissue healing qualities to it, really, really big time, and that's why people like me and the cataracts that were forming in my eyes have disappeared. My wife has regained the use of her left eye that she had lost 20 years ago,
Okay.
and so that's coming along real nice. I have one of the testimonies. If you see that, if you have the testimonies, and we got that in there. My telephone man in northern Arkansas had crushed his hand real bad, and the doctors had told him that he might lose that hand, but they cleaned all the bone fragments out. They put they put a titanium plate in there and with 9 metal screws, and put some kind of synthetic bone material, I believe he said, in that, and the doctor told him if this is not healed within 12 weeks, we're going to have to take a graft out of your hip and redo this. Well, he went back to the doctor, as I recall, and I have that in testimony, so if I'm not telling exactly it's because I maybe have lost some of the details over the period of time, but it's written down in there. But anyway, he goes back. They had restricted him to 10 pounds weight, and they wouldn't let him go back to work for 10 days. And after they cleaned all the fragments out and done their thing, well, in 3 weeks, he called me from out on the mountain one day. He was working out there, and he said, I just wanted to tell you, I'd just been to the doctor, and he said that thing is totally healed. They gave him a total release for no restrictions or anything. He says it's sore, but it was totally healed. So we're getting a lot of tissue healing, and as a matter of fact, I've had 3 hernia operations, 2 low and then 1 umbilical hernia, and all of those, and some of those date back prior to 1990, and all of those scars have disappeared. So we're getting, that is first-handed information that I have, and we're finding other folks that are experiencing the same thing with scars disappearing. And so and the way I look at that, when the scar is disappearing, that means that there is some tissue building going on there. And we also see this in burn victims, and we have not had lots of experience in burn victims, but the latest one was a 3rd-degree burn that happened in Dallas on July the 4th, and but that after 2 weeks, I believe it was still raw, and they were giving him antibiotics and things like this. But he come across some of our folks in Longview, Texas, that was on the water, and they started misting it with the purple, and it was within a week that scar had already come to half the size, and just a little bit longer, it had all healed and left no scar at all. But what they did there, and this is good information if you ever have a burn situation, they misted the scar tissue and all, and then they wrapped it with gauze of some sort, and then they kind of wet it down with the mister to where it would hold that water on it for a longer duration of time, and they'd done that twice a day. But it just didn't take any time hardly for that scar to totally heal, and that was the purpose in the purple water. That was my design intent when I come up with it in the first place. But we found out that if it heals things like that, then we had a guy in Seattle, 83-year-old that was in real sad shape, and he drank half of that bottle before they took him back home from the hospital, and 90 days later they found there was no cancer or anything else. So we found a little bit different strategy for people, like I'd mentioned about the dope habit there, or whatever you call it, we were talking about just a few minutes ago. And it's a strategy that if you have a major problem you're trying to overcome, well, that seems to be working real good, where you drink one of the bottles the first day and expose the body to that high level of oxygen. Then you drink, go ahead with red-green on a regular basis, and it will hydrate the body, and they all work hand in hand together there. It's a beautiful strategy, and somebody else had worked on that, and they vary it a little bit, but it is a real good strategy to follow.
Excellent, excellent. Now, have you known anybody that has melanoma problem? That means discoloration of their skin, where they have light splotches on, like people have said Vigaro, or I can't pronounce the word, but anyhow, it's where, people have light complexion spots on this. Have you known anyone to take this water and it actually even out the coloration of the skin?
Well, I don't know that I have experience in the particular area that you're talking about, but I can address age spots. I've had them, and I've had and they go away. They're kind of on my skin. They were just dark spots on the back of the hands and whatnot, and those things have gone away.
So in other words, they even out your complexion.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Then I've had other people that has done that also, and so I have every reason to believe that it would probably do what you're asking about, but I do not have direct experience there yet, from direct testimony from anybody that's had that situation yet.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time.
You're mighty welcome. Thank you for joining us.
I have a question.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes.
How about someone with edema? Edema. I'm
familiar with the word.
the swelling of the legs.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes, that works real good. We had, I think that's probably akin to gout, isn't it?
Oh, well, I'm not sure.
Well, we had, we have had that situation with swelling of the legs, but I remember a few months ago we had one of the people that got the water in California said, I'm going to send it to a friend of mine in the LA area. I said he's got gout, which was a swelling of the feet. They said he had it for 5 or 6 years, I believe he said, and I think that may be a testimony too in what we've got, and we've got a lot more testimonies, by the way. We just haven't had time to get them all put together. But anyway, he sent a bottle of the water down there to his friend, and now this man's feet was, he said himself that his feet were such that he had to buy shoes twice the size in order to even have anything to wear, and that had been going on for several years. And he called, he'd been on the water for 24 hours, and he called us in in Arkansas, and my wife answered the phone, and the guy was so excited. He said after being on the water for 24 hours, he said the swelling has gone down, and I can get my shoes on for the first time in whatever it was, 5 or 6 years. And so that also, I think, could easily flow over into the area that you're talking about in the edema area.
Right. Okay, that sounds good. Because my son has that problem, so I'm going to have to get him to drink the bottle.
Yeah, you need to. It's not going to do it with the water sitting in the bottle. Okay, it's got to be in the body if you're going to.
Right.
And so I wish you well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, hello. I have a question here. This is Ken from Arizona.
Okay, Ken.
I just received my package today,
Okay.
and I noticed that I had one bottle of the red, covered with the foil. And what I did with that was put it in the bathtub, and I soaked in that for about 20 minutes or so. Now, you mentioned also that we're to drink that. Now, what do I do? Shall I drink the stuff or put it in the bathtub?
All right, now,
because I only have one bottle, or can you send me another one?
Well, if you look at the top of it, that'll be a purple top.
Yeah, okay, purple, that's right.
Okay.
Right.
All right, you don't necessarily, so you got the packet with the one purple and the 6 red green.
That's correct.
Okay, so apparently we had talked, and you were looking kind of for a maintenance type program and not necessarily anything major to overcome. And
not necessarily. I'm 87 years old, and I'd like to take care of a few things. A little slight dizziness sometimes. And
right. Well,
like
I think we had talked about that and decided probably since you didn't have any real major things, that probably the red green would take care of most of those. And yes, whenever you put the purple bottle in the water in the tub, you don't have to open the purple bottle. Just
I realize that.
Just let it float around in there and enjoy it. Just feel like it's a rubber duck or something, and just let it float around and stay in that tub as long as you feel comfortable with, and that will help just get rid of a lot of stuff. And then by drinking it on the inside and soaking on the outside, well, you got a good plan going. So hang in there for a little while, and if you don't get the results you want, well, then let's talk about it. We'll look at maybe deviate the strategy just a little bit to help you.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Fred.
You're welcome.
This is Donald. Is there, that you've observed, been any cases where a person was told that they, because of clogged veins and arteries, they would probably need a heart operation, a bypass or something, and they were on this for a while, and it would clean that out, sort of like a chelation effect?
When we first were developing this, and this is in my testimony page too, there's 6 pages of testimonies right now, but the vice president of the water company heard what we were doing here, and he said, well, if this will do what you say it will, I want to get on it. And he had a high cholesterol, high blood pressure situation for 9 years, as I recall. And he got on the water. When we did the water, the oxygen level on the water at that time was very low because compared to where we are today, we didn't know how much the body could handle. And even though I had already run mine on up and way high, I wanted to find out what it was going to do, and it seemed like it didn't hurt me, and some people may have a different opinion, but anyway, he was using this water, and it was very low as comparison to where we are today, I said. And when he goes back to the doctor after he'd been on it for 60 days, well, the doctor told him that his numbers were normal for the first time in 9 years. So it will clean out the plumbing for sure. And it doesn't hurt people that have stents already and stuff like this. And it's just good for a lot of things. It will, of course, poisons. I have found out that poisons will cause tissue to swell. And if you have a problem with snoring, well, you can probably find out that this water will take care of that over a period of time, because the way my evaluation of it is that whenever you have tissue around a tube, like your breathing tube, and you're going up from your lungs to your nostrils or wherever it goes, if you have poisons, what happens is the tissue that is surrounding that tube will swell, but it swells in all directions. But when you have swelling in a 360 degree around a tube like that, it reduces the size of the tube, is where I'm trying to get to with this explanation. And your body, people with sleep apnea, they struggle for air, but we've seen people with sleep apnea turn around just almost immediately, because what happens, it gets rid of the poisons in the tissue. And I guess maybe this is my own thinking, the tissues must be the most sensitive part, is a very sensitive part of the body, and it seems like if you go get anything, well, it'll be in the tissue somewhere or another, but you got tissue all over the body. But it seems to be good to release poisons and stuff whenever you flood it with oxygen. So when you flood swell tissue with oxygen, well, you're going to relax, and first thing you know, well, you're not snoring anymore, not struggling for air in the middle of the night.
Could I just add to that? I think what you're talking about is inflammation. They say that inflammation is one of the leading causes of illness, and probably this will reduce it.
It will. That's a good point. And of course, inflammation, it will help. It'll cause tissue to swell also.
Right.
So that's a good point. Thank you.
You're welcome.
How effective is, like, rheumatoid arthritis? And my daughter's got that, and plus she's got Raynaud's, which is like poor circulation, or circulation that's restricted in her feet and hands.
Okay. I don't know if Ann is on from Texas or not. If she is, she's a retired medical, and she could address that. But I do know in my particular case, if you're on, Ann, just go ahead and break in. But in my particular case, I had polymyalgia, which is I later found out is a member of the arthritis family. And of course, I had pains in the joints and everywhere else. But I might mention this, since you brought that up. And I was telling somebody today, they said they had bone-to-bone contact in the knee. And I said, well, there is a product on the market. It's non-habit forming, non-prescription. You get it at health food stores. You buy it from doctorstrust.com. It's called hyaluronic acid, HYALURONIC acid, and that is I understand from the vets that is a cushion. That's the cushion between the joints, is to keep bone-to-bone contact from happening. And I learned about that through my daughter, who is a thoroughbred trainer, and one of the jockeys, I don't remember his name, he's well known, had to quit riding because of the pain in his knee. The vet told him, well, why don't you get some hyaluronic acid like we give horses and all? He said that'll take care of it, because it was bone-to-bone contact, and when you got that, they tell me, and I know of a surety too, that is a painful thing. But you can get this, and it's non-habit forming. It's rather inexpensive. Like a bottle of it's $20 or something like that. You can get different strengths and all. And it doesn't take long until that will help people, I think, with arthritis too. But to further answer your question, the oxygen is going to help also. So you need to get muster as big army as you can to go after those kind of things. And those are two of very important things that I think that can yield terrific dividends. The water and the hyaluronic acid, or other things that are on the market, and maybe your clinical nutritionist can suggest other things too, because they study that thing where I don't. I hope that answered your question.
This would be, you probably observed for stroke victims who have become partially paralyzed have probably been helped quite a bit.
Yes, it is amazing the testimonies that we get on a daily basis. We're hearing testimonies that I wasn't even aware of, being an engineer and not being in the medical field. A lot of this stuff is just totally new to me, and it fascinates me what this high level of oxygen water will do for people, and whenever something like that happens, they get real excited about it, and people call in tears and thanking me for something I didn't even know this product would do it. But I just don't see too much really that it won't help, because if oxygen is a healing fluid for all situations, well, then oxygen and getting rid of poisons and all, I understand from a clinical nutrition, is that there's basically two things that cause sickness, and I may be oversimplifying it, but to me, it is poisons and nutrition. And if you can get rid of the poison and get the proper nutrition, well, that seems to be a very good start toward good health, from what my clinical nutritionist tells me.
Now, do you measure the oxygen in your water by parts per million, or is it a whole different thing?
Yeah, I'm doing entire different situation. I'm measuring oxygen levels, energy levels.
Okay.
And like your body has an energy level that I can measure, and we call it general vitality. And then you've got oxygen. I can on my equipment that I use. It's an offshoot of some Tesla's technology. The technology is rather old. It's just that I got an inspiration to build some additional equipment to go with things that was already on the market, and as a result of it, we're able to do the things that we're doing here, whereas that's never been possible before. But we work with energy levels, and it's like if you have if you want to if you have a growth of any kind, be it out there in the field or something like that, or in your body, if you can cut off the energy that's flowing to that growth, if it's a tree that you don't want somewhere, or if it's something in your body that's not supposed to be there, if you can cut off the energy level to it and it can't grow, then it has to die in the body. Then over a period of time, we'll dissolve it and cast it out. So what we're doing is things that are adverse to the body, the oxygen seems to ferret that out and cut off its energy supply, just smother it. The way I personally look at it, and other people would probably see it a little bit different way, but it helps me to understand kind of what's going on there. I hope this helps a little bit.
So does this technology, does it affect the water molecule and just gives it more energy, or changes its angle of its bonds or something? Or
yeah, it's a very unusual situation that we're doing, and we've just been able to raise in our proprietary technology. We've been able to raise the oxygen level at a molecular cellular level to an unprecedented height, and that's why you're getting just a lot more oxygen in a swallow of water than you've ever been used to before. And I've had it. They've tried to reverse engineer and find out how I done this in two pretty hefty labs, and so far they hadn't been able to figure out how I do it. But the reports come back, well, we don't know what's going on. We've never seen water like this before. So I just kind of leave it like that and enjoy it, you know. And I guess there's some benefits about being first on the scene, you know.
Yeah, they say, you know, energy medicine. That's the future of medicine, or future of healing. You know, is like you're saying, the body. If your energy level or your vitality level is high, basically you can't get cancer. You really won't sick. You know.
Yeah, and excuse me, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead if you like. I wanted.
That's fine.
What I was striving for, and this is the way I see it based on what I've read in a lot of other publications and all. If you are familiar with the pH scale, which runs from 0 to 14, and then 7 is the midpoint, anything from 7 or lower is acid. Anything from 7 and above is alkaline. Dr. Warburg in the 30s and 40s, who won the Nobel Prize twice, discovered that no diseases could live in an oxygen-rich environment or an alkaline environment in this case. And whenever poisons come into the body, and goodness knows we get them from 100 different directions on a daily basis, through our food, through water, through the air that we breathe, and the vapor trails that they're spraying us with, and all of that sort of stuff. We get all of that stuff in the body, and what happens then, if you don't have a way of counteracting it, the poisons displace the oxygen that's in the body already, and when it does that, it makes the body go more acid. And whenever you get down into the 5 and the 6 range, somewhere like that, you're in pretty deep trouble. And so what we found, and I found this out in working with my farm ponds, that whenever you flood the body or a body of water with oxygen, then you drive the poisons out and raise the pH of the body. Now I done this in my farm ponds, and I noticed I had a total dissolved solid meter and also a pH meter that I'd bought off of the market. They're readily available. But I was interested in the total dissolved solid. That's one of the standards that people that are in the water business and the labs and all, they check what the total dissolved solid count is. And even there is a government standard out on you shouldn't be drinking water that has a total dissolved solids of over whatever it is. And if my memory serves me correctly, it's something like 500, and I don't know how to explain all that. But anyway, I think that's much too high. But anyway, getting back to the farm ponds, well, whenever I check my total dissolved solids and the pH of the pond, and then after I'd raised that pond to a high oxygen level, I go back and check it, and I noticed the total dissolved solids had dropped precipitously, and the pH in the pond had gone up. So I had a very good quality of drinking water, if you will, in the pond. It was even a better quality from those tests than even my deep well was giving me, because I was getting all kinds of minerals and things out of the ground. And so that's what you're wanting to do. And we have a man at Burke Burnett, Texas, that went to the doctor. I think his is part of that testimony too, concerning the pH, where he had gone to the doctor, and the doctor tested his pH, and it was 6. And if I'm not mistaken, he went back in 60 days, maybe it was 90 days, and after he'd been on the water, then his pH had gone up to 7. So that's what we're talking about here, is to get your pH up into the alkaline or the high oxygen environment. And Dr. Warburg says diseases cannot live in an oxygen-rich environment. So with that, then I have to rest my case on the fact that what Dr. Warburg found out, we're able to do.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's real easy to measure your pH. You can just get some of the pH paper that measures in that range from like 6 to 8, and then you just check your saliva first thing in the morning when you get up, and then maybe a couple times throughout the day. And yeah, if you keep your pH above 7, you're going to be in pretty good shape.
I totally agree with you. And that somebody had asked me about if I sold pH paper. No, I don't, but I can tell you if any of you are having a little trouble finding it. It used to be in every drugstore in the country, but they somehow or another it fell off of the shelves, and they didn't stock it anymore, because that's an excellent way, in my personal evaluation, and I have my own pH paper and this, that, and other, so I'm talking from personal experience here now, but it's an excellent way of finding out what the condition of your body really is. And you can buy pH paper. I get mine from Lab Safety Supply up in, I think it's Janesville in Wisconsin. If you Google it up, Lab Safety Supply, you'll find it there. Edmund Scientific in New York, who supplies a lot of things that labs in high school and all use, and you can get it from them. You can buy it in a little vial. I think a little vial maybe of 100 little test strips are less than maybe something like $2 or something like that. So they're readily available. Some drugstores, they tell me, are starting to have the paper now. So it is readily available. You go on eBay. You can find probably 25 sources on there where you can get it. So it's readily available, and I suggest everybody grab it and
That's what I was going to say.
and keep it on hand, and just monitor your body. Your body is probably the most important thing to you, and they say self-preservation is the first law of nature. So if you're going to preserve it, you kind of got to know what you're working with. So pH paper is one good avenue to start with, and so I'd encourage all of you to invest a couple bucks somewhere and have a supply of it on hand.
People that have severe lung damage, whether it be from emphysema or breathing other things, in addition to this getting more oxygen in, which is good. But this is very good for tissue rebuilding. Have you observed where there's people with severe lung damage have had seen their tissues being rebuilt? And
Yes, we have, and As a matter of fact, the latest report was from somebody just 30 miles west of me, and he had no lung capacity and a lot of, I guess, tissue damage where he was in the hospital, and they got him on. I heard about my water, and within 3 days, his lung capacity changed considerably, and his breathing was easier, and they even measured his lung expansion. It was even coming about really a measurable thing there just within about 3 days. And this brings up something else that helps me to understand some things. I work with a man in Missouri that has a patent for catalyst for fuel for engines, those huge engines and all, and we found out that between the cells, and we found out that this is good in fuel, or it's good in the body. It seems like there's several different names for it. Mitochondria or something like that. I can't pronounce the word.
Mitochondria.
Okay.
Mitochondria, yeah.
Right. Okay. And whenever we were doing,
We missed that one there.
beg your pardon. Okay. When we were doing our thing, we found out that between the cells, we called it interstitial membranes, and those interstitial membranes seems to be what connects the cells. And I've studied about this, and it seems to be a general consensus of opinion on everybody that's knowledgeable about it. So this is not original with me, except that we did find out that seems like the fuel of the cells is stored in the interstitial membrane. Now what we found out too is that if the membrane gets stiff or fibrous, then it doesn't release the energy, whereas oxygen causes that to stay lubricated, if you will, and be more pliable. And I've wondered, and I really believe this in my heart of hearts, that this is why some people's lungs, if they've smoked or whatever, that interstitial membrane has become fibrous and doesn't expand like it is supposed to. But with the introduction of a high amount of oxygen, it seems like that is causing that lubrication that allows the lungs to expand. And we also believe that that's what's happening in the bladder too. If people have to go real often normally, well then after they're on the water, well, they find that they can go further between trips to the bathroom. And my own thinking is it's because that membrane is more flexible now, and it expands more and allows for the longer time between trips. So that's we've found that out in the internal combustion engine situation, and it sure seemed like it translated over to the body to me, and that's kind of the way I explain it. Now, other people probably see it differently, but that's all right. I mean, that's my understanding, for what it's worth.
Yeah, Fred, I'm a respiratory therapist, so when that happens in the lung, it's called pulmonary fibrosis, and that is a death sentence. Once you have diagnosed with pulmonary fibrosis, your lungs just keep getting stiffer and stiffer, and pretty soon you can't breathe, you can't oxygenate, and it's not a fun way to die.
No, I'm sure it's not, and I believe that we're supplying a product here that's going to help in that area tremendously. And of course, we need more testimonies, and you guys have to understand, and gals too, that we haven't arrived yet. We don't have all the answers. We just happen to come off our deathbed, and we found a bunch of other things, and we're finding a lot of testimonies that this helps. And so we're still learning too, and we appreciate your inputs because it helps us to to understand a little bit better some of the technology, and it's given me some additional breakthroughs that I think are going to prove to be extremely interesting. They already are, but we're still collecting data and looking to do some other things here. In addition, it complements the water, and it has a great deal of promise, we think. But it's the inputs from you people that helps us to get kind of a vision of other possibilities here. And I want to thank you because you're helping me, and if I can translate some of these things into this, we may be able to tweak our water from time to time, which would incorporate some of these ideas and even make it better for more people. So thanks, and keep the testimonies rolling. I mean, you know your body better than anybody else, and whenever you see something that's improved as a result of it, well, we'd love to hear from you, and we thank you for it.
Have you seen anybody improve who has Lou Gehrig's disease?
Yeah, it's an area that I've done some work in. We've seen some improvement. My new technology, I think, is going to touch on that area real nice. It's a toughie. That and Alzheimer's and some other things. We have seen those turn around. There's still work that I need to do in those areas to understand the situation. I've been instrumental in a lady over in Kentucky that was silent for 2 years, and I was able to do an analysis, and her husband was just, they'd been married for many years and retired military and getting an elderly, and I done an analysis, and I said, well, I got excited about it, and I said, I believe she'll call your name within a week. And he said, I would just be happy if she would. Well, in 4 days, he was talking to her and said, my name is so-and-so. She said, your name is not so-and-so, it is, and she called him by first, middle, and last name. And that was after 2 years of nothing. And but I'm not satisfied that we're there yet. There's more work to be done, and it's a damnable thing for people to be in a condition like that. And if I can design something into the water that would be of benefit in that, well, I haven't give up on that one. So just pray that we keep getting revelation knowledge that we can translate into something that will reach out there and help those, even if we had to bring out another total type of water that was specifically designed for that. That's not beyond the realm of possibilities. Whenever you look at our red, green, and then you look at the purple, and as time goes along, you're going to find out what these will be capable of doing. And I believe that we'll be able to do one that will take care of Lou Gehrig's, Alzheimer's, and some of those things that are so damnable to families, and so keep praying for us in that area for sure.
Does the water that you in your product, does it have any minerals in it at all, or?
Yes, it does. It has trace minerals in it, but I don't. Nutrition obviously is not my thing, so I tell people to, if they have mineral deficiency, be sure to check on that. Don't depend on my water for everything, even though it's got them in there. I'm not convinced that it's all of I'm sure it's just not all the minerals that the bodies need. So be sure to get some professional to help you in that area. So I don't want to lead anybody astray. It's an area that needs probably some additional stuff that your body needs, and they have ways. The one that I use takes hair samples and sends it to a lab in Arizona, I believe, and then they can analyze the body and tell you what your deficiencies are. And so I opt to go that way, and I would suggest anybody else do the same thing. If they don't have a good mineral regimen, well, you might want to look into something like that. And if you didn't have anybody and you if you wanted to know who I use, well, I've talked to this gal. She's in north of Dallas in McKinney, and she said it would be fine if I referred people to her. So if you want to, if you need that contact, well, if you'll email me, or I'll be glad to pass it on to you.
Fred, this is Bob Wright, and I think my shipment was on Bob Bennett's. I didn't get mine today either. But anyway, have you had any experience using this with animals? I've got a older Labrador Retriever that is licking his paws, and he's getting bumps on him, and then he'll make them bleed in some spots, and then also they're notorious for getting ear infections because they're in water a lot. And have you had any experience with any of these things?
Yes, sir. I had an old cat that had been with us for a long time, and she got real sick and was just dragging from one spot to another, and she'd lay with her head straight down into the ground where they normally turn it to the side at least. So I got her on this water, and I jazzed it up a little bit for her, and that old cat come alive and lived for over 2 years. She was out hunting in the woods and stuff like this, and then one day her motor just quit. And so we also, my daughter worked with race horses, and we've had some of those that they've put on the water, and it looks like the success is real good. So yes, please do feed that animal, make his water available out of the red green, and I think you're going to be real pleased. That's what we do. We keep the red green out for our animals around here, and I think it's real good for them. Now then, also you feed them this water, they're go get good, and I think good and healthy. But also you got to watch for parasites in them, and be sure to. I don't want to make a good, healthy situation for parasites too, but there are things that can take care of, that the vets have and all that can take care of parasites and stuff like this. But from a hydration standpoint and a water standpoint, well, I think you'll see a lot of things clear up on that animal if you get him on the water. Don't be afraid to do that. And also it's good for house plants and stuff like that. Feed it to anything you want to that needs water, and wash your fruits and vegetables in it, and hopefully get rid of some of the toxins and all off of those before you eat them. That's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up.
Would you take and soak his paws in it, or put any of that water in an ear for an ear infection, or how would you handle it, or just give him the water and hope that takes care of it?
Well, I put the water in my ears, and I'm real happy with the results. Now, I don't know if you could talk your dog into letting you do that to him or not, but I see absolutely no reason why you couldn't. There's not anything that's going to hurt him, because he already jumps in the water and gets it in his ears anyway. So this high rate of oxygen will attack pathogens, and that's what you're looking for, is to get rid of that kind of stuff in his ears. And I think you'll see him improved, and I would do that pretty regular. I think he would enjoy it too.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So you put the red, green, or the purple full strength into your eyes, your ears, or how do you do that?
Yeah, you can use either one. Now, probably the red and green will do you for quite some time, because I have monitored people that are on the water, and I've come to the determination in my own analysis that when you start drinking the red green from scratch, well, your body will take on oxygen at the rate of between 3.5 and 5 million on my scale per week. Now then, that would be about 10 or 12 million per month that's raising the oxygen level in your body. Really nice. But what we have in that red-green is a few 100 million in the oxygen level. So it's going to take you a while to get up there. So I said all that to say that you can get by with the red and green here for a year or so if you want to. There's nothing wrong if you decide that you want to go with the purple. I mean, it is out in orbit now as far as oxygen is concerned. But I would try the red green first and run that for quite a while, and that's what I was doing whenever it got rid of the cataracts in my eyes, and it's also basically what my wife was doing when she regained the eyes, her lost eyesight that had been lost for 22 years. So go for it. It just seems to be the thing to do.
Have you seen it?
Go ahead, Don.
I was going to say, talking about dogs again, when older, especially the larger breeds of dogs, sometimes get hip displacement and pretty crippled. Have you seen where the dogs like this get help?
Well, the bone healing, I have to equate it to what I know about humans. And the reports that I've gotten from them, we've had several that have had broken bones, and every one of them, when they go back in 3 weeks or whatever the time frame is that the doctor sets them to get the cast changed, every single one of them have been totally healed, and they've never put a cast on, the second cast on. Now then, I have to parallel that to the possibilities for that animal that you're talking about too. So I think you're going to see bone structure healing and all because of the tissue healing quality of the water. I had heard early on that perfect water has tissue healing qualities, and I'm not saying that our water is perfect, but we have seen some real miraculous things as a result of that. If it heals.
Somebody that needs to press star 6 has got a speakerphone or something. Please, if you're on a speakerphone, please make sure that you've pressed star 6.
Leave me alone. But getting back to, I just have to believe that animal's going to get some restoration of the bone structure that you're talking about. I sure would count on it anyway, and I'd make it available to him. And once he gets on the water, he'll be real happy with it, and his energy level will pick up and all, just like yours will. And so I'd say go for it. Give it a try. Give the guy an opportunity to see if
Go.
Yeah, and I'd like to drop this
Here we got somebody that thinks they're muted. We got somebody back there that thinks they're muted, but they're not. But if you're having a background conversation, press star 6.
Just get the hell out of here. Or go to your room or get out of the house. Leave me alone.
Hey, sir, would you please press star 6? We don't need to hear your background conversation.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions, or Donald, you want to?
This is Mercy Matchett in Texas, and I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, this is my first time on, and I can hear all the good things y'all are saying, but I don't know. I haven't heard a presentation. I don't know what the water is and how to get it, but I am interested in it.
We can get you a number for that, Versi, where you can get a real good presentation. In fact, we could give that number now. You got a pencil there, Versi?
Yes.
Okay. It's 712 432 712-432-6099. I'll repeat that, 712-432-6099, and then the access code is 129555 £. Again, that's 129555 £. And if you go and listen to that, it's amazing. You will be very well informed, and you'll enjoy that a lot.
Do you have a website or tell me how to order the product?
Fred?
If you will, email me at toh@leadhill, leadhill.net. TOH like top of hill, at lead, lead like the metal, leadhill, hill.net. And if you'll email me, cut me a little slack because my emails have stacked beyond belief, and I'm trying to work through them, but I will definitely get to you, and we'll get you fixed up. But if you listen to that recording, you'll have a real good idea about what this is all about, and there's a lot of good information, a lot of good testimonies.
And what is your name?
Fred Neal, N-E-A-L.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Fred, you can use this water to purify water, other water, so you had some water that needed to be purified.
Yeah, like cleaning up waterways and stuff like this.
Even drinking water, even, say for some reason the water in your city, they say, well, it's not safe to drink or something. Or
yeah, what the problem that you're having, and we've heard some pretty interesting reports just over the last few weeks, where, for instance, cities like New York City and I think Oklahoma City was named in there, where they don't test their water anymore. The problem that you have that I read about and I know about is that the drinking water supply in a lot of these cities have so much prescription drugs that's been flushed down the commode, that's got into the water supply and all, and it's pretty difficult, I understand from reading about cleaning that stuff up. I wish that for the sake of the people that's own my water, that they could go with a nice, good, say, spring water or something like that. Or if you have to go with distilled water, that's good. Just remember that distilled water takes all your minerals out, and so guard yourself there. But you put my water in it, even like we done a swimming pool in Dallas early on when we were at the 2 to 5 million area, and it took about 21 days in that swimming pool. And I think that was a 30,000 gallon swimming pool that they had reworked and put all that good Dallas City water in it, and took about 3 weeks or maybe just a couple days over before there was no, and we designed a water and sent down to him and suggested how he apply it, and he did, and we checked the water every week, and about a little over 3 weeks there was no chlorine to be found in that pool at all. So it will attack that kind of stuff, but if you're putting it in your body, it is so much better if you have a pretty good water to start with, and then the high oxygen level doesn't have to attack the pathogens and impurities and all in the water. It can go right directly to work on the body. So that's why we suggest that people try to come up with a non-chlorinated water if they can. But goodness, how do you get around all of that? I've even thought myself about it. Times get really difficult. We have to go out into the creek. It'd be good to have some of this water to put in your container, because it will clean the crud out of it, but given time, depending on what it is and how much it is, it's going to take a while for it to do it, perhaps, but it will do it. And if it gets in the body and you keep drinking it, well, it'll even do it in the body. But the better chance you can give your body, I think, the better off you're going to be.
Hi, Joan from New York wants to talk to you about New York water.
Well,
I've tested it. It's not bad. You know what's so bad about it? It's got fluoride in it.
It's got what in it?
It's got fluoride. It's great for your teeth, but I wouldn't want to put it through the rest of my plumbing.
Right.
Well, it's not good for your body.
Yeah, I had read that about it, and about they weren't testing the water up there, and
No, I tested it myself though, and I found out it is safe, but it's got fluoride in it, and that'll kill you.
yeah. Well,
The other thing I wanted to tell you is, did you know that nitric oxide is what helps the oxygen get to the rest of the body and the cells? Nitric oxide.
I've heard that. I'm not familiar with.
Okay. The other thing you mentioned was the hyaluronic acid. That's in your synovial fluid. That's a component of synovial fluid in the knees. I don't know if you knew about the synovial fluid.
Okay. Well,
okay.
Yeah, I didn't know it. I know
Yeah, that's the major component. So you're mentioning taking that hyaluronic acid. It's one of the best things a person can take if they have aches and pains.
That's
and the other thing is, I had cancer 25 years ago, and I have been testing myself with the pH testing strips since then. And the darker the strip turns, the better off your pH level is. Everybody should do it, even if they feel healthy. They should still test their pH every day. It'll tell you if you're on the road to being sick or not.
Yes, it will.
That's all. I stated some facts. That's all I wanted to let you know. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. And the pH thing it is so inexpensive to do, and
I know.
It can tell you a lot about your body.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, test it in the morning when you get up, and then test it as you go through your nutritional supplements throughout the day. You'll actually see it improve.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Thank you.
But thank you. You're a blessing to us for what you've given us in the water. I'm going to order some of that myself when I get paid next time. Clyde Compton told me about it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. I'm thankful to both of you because I never heard of the water before, but I'm thankful to know about it now.
Well, it's relatively new. I mean, we've been kind of putting it out on to different people now for a year or so, and it's starting to get around. I mean, we're sending it everywhere.
We're keeping you busy.
and too, everybody knows somebody, Donald. And it seems like the more they tell, the more they work me, And I'm a senior citizen. I say be kind to your senior citizens, but I'm not complaining. Now, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, this if I'm understanding this correctly, that the toxins, we've different ways of eliminating toxins through the skin, the bladder, and the bowels. But in addition to that, this stuff will neutralize many of them. So, because that would be like your chlorine in the swimming pool, taking the chlorine out. It didn't move the chlorine anywhere. It just neutralized it so that it was not a factor anymore. Is that correct?
Well, I was told that it solidified the chlorine and caused an evaporation. I can't prove that. That's what I was told whenever I was trying to find out chemically or whatever what happened to the chlorine, because I was interested myself, and that's what I was told. I have no way of proving it, so don't necessarily quote me, but that's I don't know if that's so or not, but it was gone. I just don't know where it went.
It's possible because somebody I know in engineering said that's all they had to do was alkalize the water, and they would have gotten rid of all the stuff with that thing that happened in the Gulf. So I think you're on the right track.
Yeah, they called. Somebody in California was working on that at the time, and they called me and asked me if I'd want to get involved in working on that Gulf thing. They told me what they were doing. I said, it sounds like you guys have got a plan already, so I'd say just go ahead and do what you're doing. And it seemed like a reasonable approach to me. And I said, I don't think that I could contribute anything to what you're already doing, so I bless you on your way. And I don't know how that thing worked out, but I do know that when that hurricane came in South Texas just a few weeks ago and right up through the center of Texas, up through Dallas, and I think it went on to Oklahoma City and veered off to the northeast. It dumped some heavy rain, and we had a couple of people, one down in Texas and one in Oklahoma, that got caught in that rain and came in with 100 and I know the one in Oklahoma, I believe it was 105 or 106 temperature, just almost immediately, and we went to work on them with the water and some other strategies that we're using, and was able to eliminate it within 24 hours. And I wish Ann was on to where she could share with us. But my point in all that is that and the one in Texas came on the water after that had happened, and a couple weeks to 3 weeks after that, and he got some of the water, and I have not heard back from him. But my thoughts is get the system built up with a high level of oxygen, and when that sort of thing happens, well, at least you got a good head start on it. And it's I want to say it's the strong man of the house situation. If your house is very, very strong, well, it tends to fight off anything that would try to latch itself to it. So that's my philosophy for whatever it might mean.
Okay, we'll probably, I know that there's some folks on here soon have another call they have to go to, so, but before we go, if there's anybody that has forgotten that, and has wanted to ask a question but has forgotten that on this call it's press *7 to unmute, and you keep pressing *6 and this keeps telling you you're muted. Is there anybody like that hasn't had a chance to ask a question? Press *7. Otherwise, Fred, if you got some final thoughts, or
Well, no, I just appreciate the opportunity to get to come on and talk to you as a group, because it's easier for me if I can have a forum like this, or sitting around in my living room would be great. We could hash out a lot of these things, for a group a lot easier than I can do it one-on-one. It takes a lot of time, and I'm not objecting to doing that. It's just that this is such a beautiful way to flesh out some of these questions and all, and I appreciate the opportunity, and I really appreciate you folks for coming on and being a part of it, and I just want you to know that I really do appreciate it. I do not have all the answers, but we're on our way, and we're going to try to keep doing this. We're going to do it word of mouth and help as many folks as we can, and whenever you tell other people, we'll get the word around, and we're going to have to crank up. We've got Doris is helping now, and I'm going to have to get my grown kids in to help me, but we'll keep up with it. But thank you very much, all of you, for your support and the beautiful letters and the comments that I get whenever I hear from you is just really out of this world. And I want you to know it really moves me, because never in my 78 years would I ever thought that I would be in a position of helping people and in this way. And there's so many people that need help, but we'll get to them one at a time, I guess. And you guys are doing a fabulous job, and thank you for coming on the call, and thank you, Donald, for the opportunity, and I really, really appreciate it.
Well, we sure appreciate you, Fred, and we appreciate all the answers, and folks, you've all been great. We've had some very fine questions and comments. call it a night.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Donald.
You're welcome.